You guys don't watch Impact, do you?
No, I haven't watched it
Sometimes.
in a long time. I just haven't. Not that I'm not interested. I just kind of actually I kind of forget it exists.
Well, it's live tonight from Full Sail, and I'm guessing whoever it's whatever feed it's going to, whatever access television or whatever, they're not whoever's the director ain't cutting to commercials like properly. So there's been several segments when they were they're supposed to be going to commercial break that the camera was just still sitting there shooting the arena. Like nobody's saying anything. It's just nothing there. Nothing's going on for like 2 or 3 minutes. It's happened like I don't know 3 times so far already.
You hear one of the commentators rip ass.
Pyro?
No, see, that's not even that's what I wish would happen. Like, have you seen that meme going around, whatever, with Taz when that guy botches that spot in AEW, and Taz even goes, "Well, it's a good thing this ain't gonna air," because the dude like was supposed to do like a springboard. It was like an AEW like tryout match between two guys, and the guy was supposed to do like a springboard or something, but he slipped and like he fell like straight down, like he didn't even make the top rope, kind of like he was trying to do the springboard, so he kind of like went straight down, kind of thing. And I think the other guy tripped, like getting up to go over top of him or something. So basically, it was just two guys just fell down in the ring together. And Taz was like, "Well, it's a good thing this ain't Aaron."
As it's airing.
They didn't even know they had tryout matches. I figured they just okay. We'll give you a contract. Here you go, buddy.
We'll put you in
That's most of the TV's tryout matches.
These are the guys that were good. Jesus.
that made TV. Because in the last, if you look at the last few weeks, it's basically been the same like 6 people that are on TV. And I was just before we went on, I was in the middle of listening to Cornette, and he was going over AEW ratings for like the last few weeks, and he was talking about how Jericho was saying how he's like 9 times out of 10 he's in the highest like ranked segment on the show. He was the only segment of the quarter-hour breakdown that dipped below 500,000 people. Like they were like holding steady at like 530, 540, but when Jericho was on, it went down like 479,000.
When Jericho gets older, he's going to be like Hogan. The Big Show. I wrestled the Big Show when he weighed 806 pounds.
He's not too far from there at all. Yeah,
I got the same build too.
I'm really starting. I know, right? I'm really starting to think that Jericho's just making up stuff. Just like he's just stealing paychecks and he realizes it. Because he's not even. He's supposed to be. Well, I don't know about this week, but last week he was supposed to be on his cruise. That was his cruise was sailing that week. So like some of the guys had to leave the cruise to go do TNA, and some of the guys had to leave to go do AEW. So like halfway during the cruise, I was reading that they were putting different people in their place, just so they had like bodies, for people to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so he apparently had a helicopter or something that he took from the cruise to go do TV, and he didn't even wrestle. No, he wrestled. He worked Bandito, which was oof. Just Aaron, just imagine Jericho trying to keep up with a 2025 luchador, and that's how good it was.
I wouldn't waste my time watching it, and he's gonna when that place eventually goes out of business, and I give it like 5 years, he'll be back at fucking WWE. Like I'm home, baby. And he'll get his Hall of Fame induction, and he'll be all happy and shit.
He's not burning any bridges now. I'm sure he stays in touch with. I'm sure if the camera would have panned out long enough, you would have saw Vince, Shane, Undertaker, and Chris Jericho at the Super Bowl. they would.
And Jericho's not sitting with Tony Khan. He's sitting with
No. But what you didn't see was Jericho was bringing down the hot dogs. That's why he wasn't in the picture. He was behind the cameraman, and Jericho was carrying all the hot dogs.
Those 5 guys, why would you send Jericho to get the hot dogs? It's like, we actually want them back. Like, we actually want one.
Well, I mean, 3 out of the guys were like in good shape, so they probably weren't even eating hot dogs. So
Well,
what do we got going on here?
Speaking of hot dogs, hot diggity dog, we are finally out of 1996, kind of.
Are we? But are we
ECW.
really?
Because this week we are reviewing the episode of ECW Hardcore TV from January 2nd, 1997.
Which is reviewing 1996.
Yes.
Like, I watched it, I'm like, we're out of it. And then I watched it, I'm like, no, we're not.
Yep. I'm Nate, that's Aaron and Chad, and we are here to discuss this episode of ECW TV. There is some newer stuff on the show, which was probably obviously all recorded in 1996, so I guess technically we're not out of 96, but we have taken Chad back in time from where he was last week, which was at the end of 1997. So I want to do the sound effect. You know, if I should get the little keyboard like Brian Last has when you're traveling through
Go
time.
back in time.
Great Scott!
Well, I still keep my show notes from that show that we did.
That's gonna be fun at the end of the year for you to go back and look and see how your notes compare to after you've watched the whole year.
Oh,
Chatty McFly over here.
But we get at the beginning of the show, we get a recap of the stuff from last week that we don't need to recap the recap of that. And then we get Joey introducing the show, and he reiterates what he reiterated at the end of last week's show, that we have new ECW tag team champions, the Eliminators.
well, wait a minute. Wasn't the BWO stuff? Wasn't that new?
Yeah, there is.
The BWO in Times Square was the BWO Times Square stuff from Christmas.
Oh yeah, I guess I forgot about that because I just wrote, my note just says stuff from last week, so I didn't even. Yeah, you're right. That was the BWO stuff from last week, but this week they dubbed terrible music over it. That was the difference.
Oh man, that was a mean guitar. In the arms of an angel. That's what I think they were trying to parody on that one. I thought that was new.
Oh.
Yeah, but did you see how cold it was? Like, and they're wearing their little belly shirts and their Daisy Dukes. Everybody else is in Times Square, all cold and bundled up, and these 2 nitwits are walking around their nipples all hard.
I'm sure Meanie was warm. He's got the blubber.
Yeah, Meanie was fine.
He's good.
He's probably like, I'm sweating.
And then Stevie super kicked Santa. he knocked off his white beard. He had his black beard on underneath of it.
It was like a Puerto Rican Santa.
It was, dude. It was totally a Puerto Rican Santa.
Ho, 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 little man.
I'm a Santino Claus.
It's Savio Claus. But yeah, they then show us old footage from when the Gangstas won the titles. And then we see footage of the Eliminators with the title win in Middletown. And then,
good old Middletown.
And then we get a Eliminators promo, which more old footage because they kind of run down. And I mean, it was effective. It was effective to show what a dominant tag team they've been in ECW, but they pretty much run down the litany of teams that they have knocked off so far in ECW.
I did like when he was like, Rob Van Dam and Sabu. Like, he's naming that. He's like, the Gangstas, the Public Enemy, Rob Van Dam and Sabu, Doc and Gordy.
Yeah,
like,
Doc and Gordy.
He made sure to say it just like that. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but remember when they had the Eliminators helping out Shane, and it looked like they were going to be like, the 2 new members of the Triple Threat, but obviously they changed their mind and they're going to go with Brian Lee and Candido. In this promo, they kind of made the Eliminators as face as they can in ECW, because now like they're acknowledging the fact that the Gangsters are a hardcore team and good. Like before it was like, the Gangsters are trash, they suck. Now they're like, shaking their hand at the end of the match and saying that they were
Right.
honorable opponents. So they like this is kind of turning them heel or turning them face. You know what I mean? They want people to know, hey, it's okay to it's cool to cheer the Eliminators now. They're good guys now.
Well, I was listening to him run down all those names. The only people I was pissed off was that he Public Enemy, Gangsters, Mikey and Chad, or Chad and Donnie Allen.
Yeah, you're like you left out one of the greats, man.
Yeah, because they beat me up several times.
It was a real clout.
Chad and Donnie. Donnie and Chad.
They could have just added the British Bulldogs too. I mean, why didn't they just start making up just teams out of nowhere? The Fantastics, just the Moondogs.
Beat the Moondogs. We beat the Awesome Kongs.
The Batten Twins.
Hennigan Race.
Argentina Rocca and Miguel Perez.
Lou Albano and whoever his partner was.
Leather Lou Albano.
Leather Lou Albano and Lady Victoria. Or what is no Alexandria? Leather Lou Albano and Lady Alexandria.
Anything that had to do with rock and roll.
Sal Balomo and his boots.
The Bullet and Bob Armstrong. Because they don't know the difference between Brad and Bob. They just know him as Armstrongs. Ian and Axel. Well, that was true, but I don't think it was. I think that was in Memphis.
But it was, like I said, it was all joking aside, it was an effective segment again to get over the Eliminators and the wins that they've racked up in ECW. And again, like we have said many, many times on the show, at this period of time, 96, early 97, it's hard to argue with the fact that there's some good tag teams out there. I'm not saying, but it's hard to argue with the fact that these guys aren't the best tag team in no time.
Well, we tried to figure this out like what, a couple weeks ago or something.
Yeah,
we couldn't. We didn't have anybody that was even like the way I looked at it was considerably even a close second. Like there was just the Eliminators and other tag teams.
Yeah, there's only one team I could think of is what it is.
Here,
I don't even know if they were. Well, the only like I said, the only team I could even think would even be close would be Davey and Owen. But other than that, I mean, yeah, that's everybody's. It's like the Eliminators, Davey Owen, and then every other team.
Ezekiel and Joe Henry. They're a tag team act and a 2-man band apparently now in TNA.
But then get a recap of all the stuff going on with Candido, Louis Spicolli, and Shane Douglas last week. Joey comments on the fact that it's not official. It's not official, but we're talking about the possibility of a new triple threat of Shane Douglas, Chris Candido, and Brian Lee. Like Aaron alluded to, they've kind of gone away from this being. I don't know what changed the plan. I don't know if it was that Candido came in and they decided they wanted to use him in this way or what, but yeah, like you said, Aaron, it looked kind of like they were headed toward an Eliminators thing with Douglas.
I think the fans are just getting behind the Eliminators. So they said, fuck it. Let's,
Well, isn't Mustafa pretty much done? So he's not long for the world, right? At this point?
I don't think so.
No, yeah, he's not around much longer.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much when they were going over the stuff with the Gangsters. That was the not only was it the recap, it was the blow off. It was just all right. We're done with you guys, right? Was that what that was?
We're gonna lose our top face tag team. We need another one, and none of them compared to the Eliminator. Who are you gonna make your new top face tag team? Mikey Whipwreck and fucking some other schmuck, or fucking the Eliminators? You know what I mean?
They eliminated any competition.
Mikey Whipwreck and Donnie Allen.
and both the pit bulls are hurt, quote unquote hurt. So kind of got to be the Eliminators. They can't bring back the Samoan pajama party.
No.
Samoan sleepover.
Yeah, I was gone. They couldn't send me out there with Dino Sendoff or Joe Hartgood.
Public Enemy's staking up the joint in WCW at this point.
Yeah, Axel and Ian are gone. Or Ian's gone.
Ian's at Denny's.
Somebody's got to wash the pots.
I was just going to say, I didn't say he was eating, he's in there blowing up the bathroom.
Same thing.
We then get footage of a match. It's Rob Van Dam versus Chris Candido from Allentown, Pennsylvania. This was fan cam, right, Aaron? Am I mistaken in my notes here?
No, you're not mistaken, because I put this fucking match deserved more than a fucking fan cam thing. Like, it should have been a actually good filmed match. Like, oh yeah, this is the first time Purist Dream, RVD, and Chris Candido, and here's the shitty fan cam. Whatever.
That's like I've said before, and I'll say it again. I just want to say it again, I guess. I think that the fan cam is a cool thing if you want to catch like a moment. If you want to say the fan cam was in the ring and after this certain match, whoever laid out and beat down whoever else and it was caught on the fan cam, that's cool. But I particularly don't care for an entire match being on the fan.
Or how about a show? Because remember, they sold them because I own them all.
Yeah, it's just not, I don't know. It's not an enjoyable way to watch wrestling at all.
No.
And like I said, I get what they were thinking, something different. It seems like if it's on the fan cam, it's spur of the moment, which is fine. Like I said, for a moment in time or an ambush or an angle. But for a match, like you were saying, Aaron, I would much rather seen this match filmed like an actual match should be filmed. I don't know if either of you guys had any notes on the match itself.
Just that it was like you said, it was a good match from what you could see of it, and I mean, you can go over the finish if you want, but yeah, I mean, I like the match and the concept of the match and the finish and everything, but it's just kind of got diluted because of the shitty fan cam thing.
Yeah, I don't have any notes either. It was good for what they showed. If you get out of the fan, the fan cam stuff, like that was decent. I mean, not the like you said, like catch stuff on the spur of the moment. Remember when he caught what was it that Cody and Kevin Owens like out back?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
because that was set up to be caught.
Yeah,
you know
and that's kind of what I'm saying. It is a cool thing to use when it's supposed to be something that's impromptu or we aren't supposed to be seeing this on TV or we were done filming and the actual like the cameraman's not working anymore or something and it's like grab a fucking camcorder, there's some shit going on out back, that kind of thing. But
yeah, like Smoky Mountain when like the Fantastics and the Bodies getting their fight, you know what I mean? Like that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Why not just say, okay, we're gonna have? I wouldn't even care. Just have a stationary camera or whatever, and be like, hey, we had a camera on hand because this was the first time Chris Candido and RVD were gonna fight each other, and we wanted to catch it. You know what I mean? Not we have some fan that's not even behind the barrier.
Shit, they could have even used that hard cam and had them brawl off camera. You know what I mean? Like it was the only camera they had. So when they brawled out of the camera view, the people were like, you see the people looking, but they could have came back in. They could have done all kinds of stuff with that.
The finish here comes. The referee goes down after a Van Daminator. Shane Douglas comes out, and he puts a chain on the fist of Chris Candido, but Louis Spicolli kind of turning the tables on Shane Douglas doing the referee gimmick a couple of weeks ago. Louis Spicolli comes out in a ref shirt. Candido doesn't realize it's him. Spicolli beats up Candido, hits him with a DVD, and then RVD pins Candido to win the match. So a little revenge for Louis Spicolli on Candido and Douglas here.
That was cool.
And Louis, like I said, Louis over. Louis over like Rover.
Pee Wee Anderson, the ever expanding, unexpanding referee, however you want to say it. It's like the guy's 120 pounds, but when they put their hands on him, they think Louis him. It's like, really? Why not have fat ass Jim Molyneux out there? That would be a little more believable, you know?
Yeah, and it goes back to when, I guess it was when Louis was blinded or whatever, when he grabs Pee Wee for the Death Valley Driver and he doesn't know that it's Pee Wee. I mean, it wasn't one of the eliminators. You know what I mean?
Sorry, Pee Wee. I
Thought
thought
it
you
was
were
Brian Lee.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, sorry, Pee Wee. I thought you were John Cronus.
Now that you look at stuff from 30-some years ago, you're thinking, oof. You know, how did they get away with that? I can't believe that people still think that. I talked to a guy not too long ago who still thought that. He remember when Boo Bradley or Chris Candido killed Boo Bradley's cat. They didn't know about that switch. How they do it? So what do you mean how they do it? I said, the dude ran all the way to the back with a bag, and then he came back out with a different bag. That's kind of how they did it. The special effects in pro
It's
wrestling.
the same guy that probably thinks that was actually Jake Snake in the bag
Yeah.
that Earthquake sat on.
Bunch of kielbasa. That guy thought it was
It was
Damien.
it was hamburger and pantyhose.
A 25-foot long kielbasa. Damn, that's a pretty penny.
And Vince McMahon was like, you know what I'm gonna do with that later, Mike McGurk.
No, it's what me and John Laurinaitis are going to watch other people do with it. 'Cause he's not involved. Don't let's not accuse Vince. He's not involved. He's been exonerated.
Hey John Laurinaitis, what are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with that big long thing of fucking hamburger? I don't know, but I'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
There's a whole list of applicants.
I think Vince wants to shit on it. It's fucking ridiculous. Turns out Vince McMahon's real life is much more ridiculous than you could ever have imagined that it was if you made it up. It's insane.
And the fact that he tried to make his big life so ridiculous to take people off the scent of how ridiculous his real life was.
Well, they taught the scent.
Yeah, that's something else there.
Boiled in chicken and rice. So yeah, we have the match. Joey does a little shtick or discussion on Taz and Rob Van Dam, and then we get a Taz promo. I don't think you
skipped a part.
Oh, sorry. Go right ahead.
He's alluding to the fact that Taz is actually hurt, but doesn't want to let on that he's hurt. Like when he came out for that Battle Royal and said that he wasn't going to be in the Battle Royal if he wasn't the first guy in it and all this other shit. Because
if he couldn't fight everyone, he said.
Yeah, if he couldn't fight everyone, he didn't want to be in it. And then there's a couple instances where Taz kind of stands back and doesn't fight somebody, and Joey's talking about how that's not usually what Taz does. So he's alluding to the fact that Taz has an injured left arm and he's trying to hide it from everybody. It's actually kind of a neat little storyline, I think, because I think he might actually be hurt. So they're trying to cover up for the why Taz isn't working.
It was totally neat because if you were there, you would never thought of it. You would never caught it. You know, it took Joey Styles to have to go back and talk about it to notice the fact that he doesn't move his left arm. That is there something wrong? Like, we don't know. We're just kind of like, this is what we noticed, you know, and we'll throw it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool, definitely.
And I also noticed while Taz is cutting this promo that he's cutting on Rob Van Dam, Taz had a bit of a shiner. I don't know where that came from, if that was from a match we saw or what have you, but noticed he had a black eye while he was cutting that promo, or maybe that was intentional. Maybe that adds to the Taz's fucking beat up kind of angle we're doing here.
I think that was from Rob Van Dam, if I'm not mistaken. Did he catch that? Didn't he catch that one of them kicks? Like, I don't know if it was the heel kick. I think he caught. Remember the one where I don't know if it was the one where he had the chair and he put it on his face and gave him the in the corner. But I think before that, he gave him like one of them jumping, spinning kicks or whatever. Or I think he kind of clipped maybe Taz a little bit, in the head maybe.
Little stiff, brother.
Yeah, but I'm sure Taz wasn't hurt. I mean, hurt. But if he had his neck injury, I mean, that led to his end of his career with his back. I mean, so he always had something going on, but I don't know about it if it was his arm. Way to point it out, Joey.
The gist of Taz's promo is that obviously he says that Rob Van Dam has shown him disrespect, so he's going to be showing Rob Van Dam some disrespect when they get in the ring. And then we get back to a shaky Joel Gertner hype central.
GATV.
Gene Anderson TV.
I'm so glad the wash machine repair person was here, and they got my mom out of the room for this because she hates the Joel Gertner stuff.
The only thing I wrote down here, Aaron, I don't know if you have any specific notes on this, but I did write down every week we're getting closer and closer to the Joel Gertner. He adds something new a little bit every week. Like this week, he added the little catchphrase before he introduced his name.
Yeah. This week he was the honeydew on the fruit plate of life.
I'm glad you wrote it down because I couldn't remember it.
Honeydew melon on the fruit plate of life. Joel Gertner.
He's a slob. God, is he a slob? But he's good. He's good at what he does, slob.
Yep. I mean, he's one of those people that you can say, like, he's very unique. Let's put it that way, and that's a positive thing. I'm saying that's a positive thing. Like his whole shtick. I mean, I know that there's slime balls and shit in wrestling all the time, but just he takes that to a whole nother level. It's almost like he's almost like sleazy Bobby Davis.
Yeah, he just looks like a dirtbag, a weasel. He's got chloroform in his bag somewhere. You know what I mean?
Drives a panel van.
I'm sure there's videos of him doing something that he begged somebody not to show. He's tied up in a hotel room somewhere.
He's gonna he's gonna be
like,
on.
hey,
he's gonna be on To Catch a Predator with Stan Hansen.
Well, I don't know if he's that creepy, but like somebody's like, "Hey, Joel, where have you tugged at before?" It's like it'd be quicker for me to tell you where I haven't tugged.
Yeah, he's the one that bought the Herb Abrams UWF boots. It's just him in his tuxedo shirt and his bow tie and his Herb Abrams UWF boots, covered in baby powder.
Hey Joel, where you been? You've been gone for a while. Smell my finger. All right.
Smells like Jason.
That smell could be traced back to the Grand Wizard.
After the Joel Gertner segment, Joey's back, and he builds it up for a little while, talking about a legendary figure returning to Extreme Championship Wrestling, and he announces that on January 11th, Terry Funk will be returning to ECW to face Brian Lee.
And I know we're all happy we're going into 97 and we're going to be getting like barely legal and everything. But you know what that means, don't you? That we're going to have about 6-7 months of WWE Network Desperado. We're going to have to listen to that. Like we heard a little bit of it here. Like he's rolling into the Desperado gimmick in ECW. So we're going to have to hear that.
Name it, Aaron.
I doubt it happened to you guys, but I almost got a little teary-eyed because I forgot about them bringing back Funk, and then when he started going into it, I'm thinking like, oh my god, and then I was like, oh my god. Then I thought of Terry Funk today, like what I mean, like fast forward, not today Terry Funk, but you know what I mean, and I'm thinking, oh, they should have just brought in Dory, or at that point they could have brought in Gene Anderson.
Well, he's already working behind the scenes. So after that, we get another kind of elongated promo from Shane Douglas and Francine talking about the feud with Tommy Dreamer.
Oof.
And then Joey runs through Shane Douglas's 1996. And you got to give it to the guy. Shane's run in 96 in ECW. It's a pretty good fucking run. Honestly.
Yeah, I've said it. I think it's up until the point of 98 where he's really like early mid 98 when he gets really banged up. It's like the best Shane Douglas career, the best run of Shane's career, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he was in great shape. He was definitely on the gas. So I mean, the injuries hadn't started taking over yet. So, and as far as his body of work, he was in high profile matches almost every show or something high, a decent angle. So,
and they got him into this Pitbull thing and got him in there with Tommy. So he's like shutting up about Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair and focusing on business. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's like good Shane, in my opinion.
Yeah, he probably had the most solid 96 out of, I guess, well, easily at all the regulars, right? I mean, Raven, he was spotty a lot of the time that year because he was hurt. Yeah, he was hurt, so he had everybody else do all his work for him.
What's crazy about Douglas, and I like I said, I don't know if it's from injuries or what it's from, but it's kind of nuts that, like, okay, so he's here. This is 97 ECW, so 96, 97, whatever. 2.5 years later, by the time he gets to WCW, like right now, let me see. So Shane Douglas was born in 64. So 96, he's 32. By the time he looks really good here, he's performing really good here. By the time he shows up in WCW in late 99, he looks 45. Like it's crazy, isn't it? I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but I know what happened. Look at his 1998. In 1998, he goes through a ton of fucking injuries. Like I think he cracks his palate. He fucks up his septum or whatever up in his nose. I think something happens with his foot. Like Shane gets hurt and his arm gets fucked up. Like he gets a lot of injuries, and
I'm willing to bet that most of them are all steroid related. Because he was carrying around 250, 260 pounds on maybe a 200-pound frame, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And he was gassed to the gills too. Let's be honest. It wasn't him doing all that emptying them boxes at Walmart in his day job. I don't think he started that yet.
So the main event of this episode of the show is Raven versus Mikey Whipwreck for the ECW World Title. Let me see what I got here. I don't have a lot about the match. I know I have down that the BWO is in the arena. What's that, Aaron?
So there's not a lot to have because it's a quick match.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
one thing,
was this edited?
I think
or was it that short?
Mikey quick. I just said they beat Mikey quick. And it's funny because they're like, the BWO came out and they were like, everybody's chanting the BWO. BWO. Nobody was chanting BWO.
Not even that Hispanic clause.
Yeah, I think it was
totally piped in.
I was going to say, I think at one point it switched over and people were going, Goldberg, Goldberg. Because, yeah, Aaron's right. That was totally piped in.
Which is what it is, but it's like still like, yeah, Mikey and Raven, it was a quick match. I don't know if Raven's still hurt or what, but yeah, they didn't do much with it.
No, there wasn't really. They didn't really do anything even significant enough to even jot down any notes. Because I was kind of like writing down Mikey versus Raven, and by the time I finished like writing like this should be good or whatever, then Raven's already beaten him.
Yeah, my notes on the match are literally Raven versus Mikey for the world title. The BWO's in the arena. Raven DDT for the win. That's my notes. So there you go.
So he must have been hurt because I mean there was no reason at that point to to do that to Mikey. I don't think so. He was still
No, and that's what I was gonna say. Even though Mikey's clearly not gonna win. Of course, it's Mikey, so maybe he would. He's not gonna win, but Mikey's also a guy you don't give him a short match because you want people to his character is for you to think he's gonna pull off the win.
right. Not that you go out there and get jobbed like in not even 2 minutes if it was that.
But after the match,
it had to have been 3 minutes, maybe, right?
Yeah, and I can't remember. I can't remember if during the match they cut to a commercial or not. Because and while we're watching this, there are no commercials, so it just fades out and fades right back in again. But yeah, definitely no matter how long the actual match was, what we saw on TV was super short.
That's a shame.
And of course,
that could have been good. I mean, it should have been. That should have been easily 15 minutes of Mikey just getting his ass whooped.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, you know what I mean.
And of course, crackhead Lori is at ringside.
Yeah, why can't Joey start calling her that? he's still gotta be all PC and call her Lori Fullerton. I'm like, just call her what she is. She's a crackhead.
So, and somebody, and I know everything's intentional, but somebody was like, we need to find literally the most awkward looking ugly dresses for this woman to wear. Like her dresses look like she's wearing big oven mitts.
No shit. I thought she was wearing it was like some sort of a curtain arrangement kind of thing. Cause it was like solids, like just mixed match colored solid like things. And I'm like, oof. Well, then again, she's not even that good looking to begin with. So, I mean, why put makeup on a pig?
Yeah. I don't know why nobody ever made that joke. Like, if she gets hit by the cane, nobody ever, bruised peaches. Nobody ever said it.
You got damaged peaches.
It's because Cairo wasn't there to say it. Cairo would have said it. Bruised peaches. Fruits. Fresh fruits.
Fresh fruits.
Tootsie fruitsy.
and they couldn't, and Seinfeld hadn't hit that spot yet where he couldn't take her back to return you know what I mean? I don't take back used fruit. you see like Raven dragging Lori Fullerton into a fruit stand in New York, trying to return some bruised peaches.
Distressed produce. I remember like Canadians, you know how they talk. Like I remember that like Bret Hart was on like a documentary or whatever and talking about his family and we got so poor we were having to eat distressed fruit or distressed produce. It's like, who says distressed produce? What are you talking about?
Isn't that retail slang?
Fruit.
That's retail slang for not wanting to say your shit's all damaged.
Yeah.
Distressed peaches.
And Dad would bring home crates of distressed produce.
It's all high strung. It's anxiety ridden produce.
Suicidal produce.
Yeah. That banana peeled itself.
The peaches got bald spots. There's no fuzz on them. You got propechia.
the head of the broccoli just falls off.
The bald-headed broccoli.
So
Baron von Broccoli.
Distressed Peaches is now the official title of this
Baron von Broccoli.
Baron von Broccoli. Cauliflower it in the ring. No, Cauliflower Alley, I guess. Whatever. So after
they could have made a joke there. Cauliflower's tied into wrestling at least. They could have did something with that.
After the matchup, Sandman comes out. He gets DDT'd by Raven. Lori canes the shit out of him. Mikey tries to help. That doesn't work. Another DDT on Sandman. But the Sandman winds up DDTing Raven, takes the belt, shows it off like he's won the title, which he hasn't. So Raven and Sandman is continuing, obviously.
Yeah, Raven is the
Sandman's-
master of doing like the most stuff without doing anything. Like how is there not a Meltzer award for that shit?
Yeah, he should get the Dave Meltzer give him an inch, he'll take a mile award.
It's like him and the Honky Tonk Man. Like Honky Tonk Man, like if you watch like him later, like if you watch like any indie stuff with him or whatever, his shit will go like 20 minutes, but it's him like singing his song a couple times and then the guy coming out and bumping around for him and then it's over. It's like Honky did nothing, but was
he'll
still
threaten to
fucking
leave.
super over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if he can't sing a song, he'll leave.
Yeah.
And he'll at that spot. Yeah, but Raven, I mean, like we look back at '96, and he was clearly hurt most of the year, but he was still in not only passable matches. You know what I mean. He still did like decent shit when he had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just that he never really put himself in a position. It was always, well, how many more people can we fit squeeze into this, just so we can cover up the fact that I ain't doing anything.
Well, and that also not in Memphis, like not in USWA, not in WWF when he had to perform, but on the indies. If you watch any indie matches or any non-WWF or Memphis shit with Lawler, he's really good at that fucking shit too. Playing the stall game, just doing 15 minutes of just.
He did it in WWE too.
Well, that's true, but yeah, I mean, he's a master of that shit as well. Of not giving you 15 minutes of nothing. But you realize you saw the greatest show. You think you saw the greatest show on the planet.
He'd do them entrances where he made fun of the fans, and some of those fucking entrances were longer than his match. Like, yeah.
But he still does it today. I'm sure he just did it last weekend. Because I did see a picture of him in the ring, and he wasn't doing anything. He had a microphone, so. I'm sure he did it up until.
On indie shows now, he comes out, he cuts a bit of a promo, then fucking Stroking or something hits, and the cocky heel of the promotion comes out, verbally runs down Lawler.
Did he still have his beard and everything when he was in the? Because he had that stroke, and then after he had that stroke, he like grew his beard out or whatever, and it's like he started looking like Bill Watts there for a minute. I'm like, damn, he's stroking the Bill Watts.
The picture that I just saw of him, he looked like Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, like maybe he's just past his stroke stuff then.
Was it?
Well, no, I know that's why he grew the beard, because he probably had facial shit and didn't want to have pictures of him with it.
I mean, wasn't he on just a couple of weeks ago? WWE was in Memphis. He was on WWE TV. In the audience in Memphis.
No, I didn't see him either.
It was, I don't know if it was that Saturday night's main event or if it was a Raw, but yeah, they were in Memphis just a couple of weeks ago, and he was there. And he didn't have Aaron, he didn't have the facial hair then, so he must have scrapped it.
He didn't have stroke mouth.
Good for him. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying I bet that's probably why he let his beard grow out. He probably didn't want pictures of him like that.
Him and Jim Ross both have the same cadence now.
Puppies.
Yeah. Oh my God, puppies.
They're both slobbering all over the place. Drool's just running out. and they both have the same flavor of women too. They both like them young. So imagine them two out there in a panel van. Combing the high schools or middle schools.
It's funny to see like pervert Jim Ross. You ever notice like sometimes pervert Jim Ross comes out on Twitter, like some girl wrestler or whatever will post a picture of herself on Twitter, and then Jim Ross it'll be like, by God. Like looking good, Tony Storm.
Dude, I'd like to eat
that with some of my barbecue sauce.
Ross likes a good dry rub every once in a while.
show me the sex tape of Jim Ross and Megan Bain, and and then I will be completely impressed. Have you seen this broad yet?
No, I have not.
She is why she is where she is, and not in the, well. If she was in the WWE, she'd be wrestling guys because that's how big she. I mean, this girl is something else, man. They got a total package. She is going to be a major star, but not as long as she's wrestling Chris, whatever her name is. What's her name? Flatliner, whatever her name is in AEW.
Oh, is it Statlander?
Yeah, she was doing a program with Statlander that lasted 2 weeks. It was the angle that started the program and then the match, and she beat Statlander in about, I don't know, 30 seconds because I don't think she could work. So
That's I've never I don't you know I don't watch AEW, so I've never seen this woman, so I had to look her up real quick, and yet she looks like a fucking pro wrestler, that's for sure.
Dude, she's got at least 2 tools. Jim Ross is a big fan of her because she's tall, she's in shape, she's got big boobies. You know what I mean? She checks all the boxes for you know what I mean? Somebody that should be wrestling somewhere besides AEW, beating up Thunder Rosa, for Christ's sake.
Well, overall, guys, what did we think of this this episode of ECW TV? I thought it felt like a placeholder. We're about to get to some good stuff. You know, you had the announcement of the Terry Funk deal, but the show didn't. It felt like treading water a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
felt a little distressed.
I can't really grade it because it was already. Yeah, I can't really grade it because it didn't really have anything on it. Like, you know what I mean?
What are you going to
do? It had a
shittily match.
It had a shittily filmed match that probably was pretty good, and a 2-minute Raven Mikey Whipwreck match. Other than that, it was just everything we've already seen. So,
still no Pulp Fiction. Like, are we done with that now or something? Is that gone?
No, because Pulp Fiction becomes a big staple after the pay-per-view. Because there's those last, I don't know, after the pay-per-view, because I remember, because like I've always said, I started actually seeing ECW, the shows themselves, for the first time in the summer of '96. And I remember Pulp Fiction being a big staple of ECW till it went off the air. So I don't know. I don't know if it's something they did, then they thought they didn't like it, and then they decided they liked it, so they ran with it again. I don't know, but
just taking a hiatus, maybe.
It is coming. Yeah, it is coming back.
Because that was a lot of times the best part of the show, when the shows were just either clip oriented or, you know what I mean, or angle driven. So you kind of look forward to that. That was a good 2.5, 3 minute spot most of the shows. But yeah, this show didn't really have much to offer other than whatever promos that that were new, and then Mikey and Raven, which I didn't even see it because I was too busy writing down Mikey versus Raven. Then it was over. So yeah, Aaron gave probably the best description of it. It was just, what did you say, it was a placeholder?
Nate said that, but yeah, it was just
Nate.
It was just a show. I mean, there wasn't anything on it other than, I mean, Sandman stealing the belt. That's literally the only thing that even happened. And I forgot that happened right after it happened.
You know, the best part about stealing the belt is it's a rib, because a lot of times most of the guys don't want to be a champion because they don't want to carry the belt because it's too much to lag around. And here you got people fighting over, as Shane called it, the 16 pounds of gold. He's underselling the weight of that belt. It's like 32 pounds, the belt. So you can see where, if I was like Raven, I would be taking myself out of the title picture. I don't want that thing. Because he don't have Stevie really immediate much anymore to carry his shit around, and it would take Beulah and Kimono want to take a pill, both of them to carry it. So yeah, it was what it was. It wasn't anything, and like I said, I can't judge it on Mikey versus Raven because I didn't even see it.
Well, Chad, Aaron, any parting words for our listeners this week before we sign off here?
Well, I'm going to be a guest coming up. I think I'm taping it on March, I think 7th. I'm going to be a guest on I think his name is Blake DeFore. He's a kid. He does a podcast called Drip Talk or something. And he has he varies from like people that you know to like most people you don't know. And somehow he's been trying to get me. And then we had a little incident where it didn't happen, and then we kind of went at it for a little while. And I'm like, wait a minute, I wasn't the one that backed out. You did. And then he started bad mouthing me, and then I was like, I ain't got a problem. And then all of a sudden he rescheduled me, but it's for March. But so I'll have more dates on that coming. I think I was approached to maybe be a guest on Between the Sheets again. But that's for another few more months.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also kind of currently growing my hair out now because I got an audition for a Walking Dead a spot coming up in a few months.
Well, good luck with all of that. We'll stay tuned. Chris and Bix are probably still recording the episode you were on of Between the Sheets.
Yeah, that's why they gotta wait a couple months. Like we're still doing that last one.
They're still in
Man,
the
we can't book you
international
2 weeks
section.
in a row.
They're still trying to pronounce all the Mexican wrestlers. Why don't you just not make up names? Because his Spanish is terrible, and I don't know who any of these people are that he's saying anyway. You know what I mean? So why do they do a Mexican segment to begin with? I don't think anybody's clamoring for it. That's why when I did the last show for him, I told him I'll do all of it except for the international section.
I'm not doing an hour and a half of that. I'm just not. It sounds like you're reading me the Taco Bell menu for an hour and a half.
And he reads their names so fast. I don't know these people. If their last name ain't Guerrero, I don't know who they are. Or Mysterio or.
Bix doesn't need to look up the Taco Bell menu. He can just like that.
All right, we're leaving. We'll see everybody next week as we continue reliving the extreme, getting into 97, headed toward the pay-per-view. It's going to be exciting shit to watch. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great time.
So long.